So, what does it mean to test your code? Good. You want to test it for any bugs. What else? Okay. So how do we know if it's faster? So we have to do some measuring of how fast it takes. Very good. Plus, it shows you and helps to verify that it is the right code. It verifies that, yes, this is the code. And it helps you get a better handle on the code, like these sorting algorithms. We can kind of copy the code and just take from the book what we're supposed to do. But as you test it and you see how it works, if you graph it, like that YouTube video, it kind of gives you a fun way of seeing how it's actually working. But it just helps you understand the code. And like you said, you can help measure your code efficiency and catching bugs. So how do you test something like a sorting algorithm? Well, you have to have something to sort. So you create some kind of data. In the book, they have a short 8-element array that they call list. And they just walk you through, here's how the sorting should work. But until I actually run it, I'm not sure that I actually made it work. So you have to display your list. Somehow you have to see the data. Sometimes if it's a huge amount of data, you might store it in a file, the before and after data, because there's a million numbers in there. Or if it's a big list, I might just show the first 50 elements just to show, yes, here's what's in the list. It's random. Now let's sort it, and let's confirm that it's now sorted. So sometimes you can at least display part of the list. But you display it before and after the sort. This particular test, all you're doing is seeing that the code actually does sort an array. But like you were saying, sometimes we want to find out how fast it is. So we may save the system time in order to have some kind of a clock, and then sort the list, and then save the system time again into a different variable. And the time it took is the difference between those two system time values. And then I can run another sorting algorithm and see if that one worked. Now a key thing, this is about for code testing, a very important thing is you do not test on different pieces of data. If you want to do a side-by-side comparison of a sorting algorithm, you have to sort exactly the same data. Because you never know. One sorting algorithm may have a different set of data. You think it's faster, but no, you gave it data that was more sorted than the previous set, or had some weird values in that affected the other sorting algorithm. So one thing you always want to do when you're testing, if you want to do a comparison, you have the same list of data. Now that data may have been generated randomly, which we do in our little testing program. And remember, in our testing program that I've given as your starting point, you're not doing any system.out.prints. You can do that for debugging, but your output is going to a text area. So as we generate data, we are appending text to our text area sort output. It's a long name for my output text area. So let's see how that code works. I have it over here in Eclipse. Let's just run this program. Here is the GUI interface built for you already. I've adjusted it a little bit here. I've adjusted the size of that button. I didn't like it not being the same size. This one that's already built in, I click here. It shows me my array. And looks like it's already been sorted. So I'm displaying the array after it's been sorted. But how do I know it was sorted? Let's go back into the code and display it both times, before and after the sorting. So I'm going to close this program, come back to my action listener. Let me show you where this is. Bring up your Eclipse, bring up this algorithm, and just double click on the sorting 1 button. That'll take you right to the code that I've given to you. Go ahead and pop that up. I'll wait for you to get that. I'm going to modify that code a little bit. So bring up the Eclipse, pop up the sorting algorithm. And what you're going to do is display the list before and after the sort. Bring on people that project. If you have any trouble bringing it in from, but you can play with branching. I'm not requiring that you learn how to do branching in GitHub, but it's easy to do. Basically, to have your own version. So I've been modifying this as I go, but the basic piece that I gave you is still there, where you have the list right here, and I'd like to put in white space. It makes your code a little easier to read. Here's my list. Here's what displays the results. I send this text, and I found that the list.toString isn't very helpful. See what happens when I run this? When I do a list.toString, oh, let's go back to that. When I just run this, the list.toString just gives me a memory address. That's kind of not very helpful to me at all. So the list.toString, I was hoping it might show me my list, but this is the result of that little loop, showing my elements one by one. Let's go back to that code. This is the code that really matters. List all the elements of my array. I'm going to copy that and paste it right above before I do my sorting. And before I do that whole list, I'm also going to put a message there, txt area sort output dot append, because there might be something in there already. I'm going to append the message before list before sort with a new line, the \n, and then the list will get appended. Right up there. Is that not in the code I gave you? Yeah. Oh, okay. This is where I initialize the list. I forgot that I didn't have this in there already for you. So put this in your code. This is the exact list that they have in the book that they do their sorting with. That's over here in design. What I want to do this, I want this to all happen when I click on the sorting one button. So double click on your sorting one button. That'll take you to the action to do when I click on that sorting one button. I forgot that I didn't give this to you in the original. So double click the sorting one button. That's what we want to happen when we click on that first button. Yeah, this is in the JFrame, the main JFrame. JFrame main. The reason for this is just to verify that we're going to test sorting just like they did in that book. Okay. I thought I had put that in there. So the only thing I've added to this now is let's show the list before I sort it. And then sort the list. And I realize that I want this to end on a new line. So I'm going to put a new line here. Start this on a new line. Print out that memory address. And then print out the rest of the list. And you know what? After the list is done being printed out, I think I will also append another new line. txt area sort output append a couple of new lines. So it'll put some new lines in between that and whatever comes out next. And I set txt area. Got to get the spelling right, or you'll get errors in your variable names. And the way to know what that is, back in design, I can click on this little guy here, and it shows me its variable name right there. You can always rename that variable, and Eclipse does a nice job of refactoring, renaming all your variables. So that's all that code there does. Creates a list. It's a temporary copy. It's local to this little action perform function. It sorts it using our selection sort in my sorting code, and then prints the output. Now, I'm not sure you're going to get the output yet because we need to make sure that our selection sort code is now working. So let's go over to the sorting and check the selection sort algorithm. Because I'm not sure I gave you the completed selection sort. Here is the selection sort. It's slightly different than the one they give you in the book. I don't like to have another variable telling me how many elements in my list to sort. I just like to take the list and sort it, because I know how long it is from the list.length. So this is not quite exactly the same code, but very close. I'm trying to use the same variables as in the chapter in the book. We have a variable smallest index. As I walk through this list, going from, this is selection sort, void in the sorting.java, in selection sort, let me enlarge that just a bit for you. In selection sort, we declare a variable smallest index. And I guess I didn't give you the page number. This is around page 890 or so in the book. In my selection sort, what I do is go through the entire list. This is why the selection sort isn't terribly efficient, because I'm going through every element in my list all the way to 1 before the very last element. Because notice it's less than list.length minus 1. The very last element, I would go up to less than list.length. So I'm going to the second to last item in the list. Hey! Going to the second to last item in the list and comparing. Is the thing at the point, at the location I'm at, min index, is it less than what I have as a smallest index so far? Well, if it is, that means this is a smaller item in the list. So let's store that, keep track of now the smallest index is now what I just found, because what I just found is smaller than what was there before. This is the heart of the selection sort algorithm. Finding the smallest element in the rest of the list. And why don't we put a comment in there, just to, because that's a very important item here, is find smallest item in the rest of list. Which will go to smallest index. Will be location, will be smallest index. So once this little mini loop is done, smallest index is the location. Remember, index means location. Smallest index will be the location of the smallest thing in the rest of that list. Now, if what I just found as the smallest thing in the rest of the list at this location, if it's not the same place as where I am when I started, remember I set smallest index to be index at the very start. If it is smaller than where I am, then I switch positions with the index that I'm at in this outer loop. I switch positions with this element and that one I just found. And then I continue the outer loop. So here is your classic way to switch values between positions in an array. Index is initialized right here in the for loop. Int index equals 0. So rather than declare a variable above, since I know it's only needed in the loop, I declare it right there in my for loop. That's the same as declaring it and setting it to 0. That's my style of programming. This is the selection sort. Yes, sir. Yep. So I'll leave that up there for a minute. Get your selection sort updated So then we can actually test your selection sort. And I'll come around, I'll maybe get a few blank lines. Sometimes when you have white space, it's hard to get everything displayed on the screen that you want. But there's my selection sort. I'll zoom out just a bit so you can see the whole. There it is. There's the whole piece of code. That's the entire selection sort. There's just a couple ending of the loops after that. So I want you to get this code in here because then we want to test this. And then you're on the road ready to do the code for the rest of the problems. As we get the first problem solved, the others. There's the end of it. There's that whole selection sort. This is the basic sorting algorithm that if you go look up sorting, Wikipedia starts with the selection sort. And then they get into the fancier ones. More important for us is getting our code ready to test and verify that selection sort works. So now that we have selection sort, back here, here's where the actual testing occurs. Right here is where I'm actually testing that selection sort worked. I do a sorting.selectionSort. And then I list my array again to see, did it really sort it? So after putting all that code in there, updating any comments, making sure your name is at the top in your comments with some description, we're practicing basic sorting in the Java programming course. Now I come back to selection sort, understand that the code is working, check for any bugs, any reds, no errors here. And just what I was showing Al Duwab is if you want to format your code, select through your code, Control-Shift-F or source format. Control-Shift-F will format your code nicely so it's indented nicely. It's easier to see if you've got a problem in the curly braces. Now back here in the frame main, I've got an array. I list it. I sort it. I list it again. Well, let's see if the code works. Sorting 1. Here's the array. Uh-oh, did I not save it? It's supposed to show me before and after. What went wrong? Let's try. Did I not save it? Oh, maybe I'm not running the right one here. Let me go back to my code here. Make sure I'm running this one. It's supposed to show me the list twice. Why am I not seeing both? Now I'm confused. I'm supposed to see this message, list before sort. Let me do a run again here. Oh, I've got all these other things sitting around. That's what's going on. Let me close my other projects. Can I get rid of these? Got all these other run configurations messing me up. I'm going to go over here and close unrelated projects. Now let's see if my run config. Maybe if I just go to here and do a run there. Well, let's try this. Let's do a run. I select my project, and then it should just do a run. But I'm not seeing the output that I want. I'm only getting the... I'm not getting the right thing running here. I'm not getting this one. What's going on? That's what's supposed to be happening. I've got multiple run configurations here. Let's try 2. Is that the one? No. Let's try the run. Run 1. I got 2 J-frame mains in there, and they're not doing what I want them to do. Make sure I don't have some Java hanging around here. Huh? J-frame main. Yeah, still got that. Yeah. So what's going on here? Why am I keep seeing the old one? Let me put in here. I'm going to do a system out just for debugging. System out print line. Manning main. It is getting that, so okay, so I am running that program. It's just like it's not connecting that code. Let me try that. I thought I had my code there. Maybe it's something I wasn't seeing here. Oh, I bet you here's what I'm doing. I'm doing a set text instead of append. That was my problem right there. Append. If you do a set text, you're erasing what was there before. Look at that. Silly me. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Man, how my code's not running. It was running. I was erasing what was in there already. So change that from a set text to an append. Then I won't erase the previous output. Now, there it is. There's my list before and after. There is the testing of my code. Shows me my list before, shows me my list after. Okay? So I want to be sure you get this far, and then I want to get to the point where you can create your big array to test the rest of your sorting algorithms. Because this array is a tiny little array. We want to make a big array to do some more substantial testing and do some eventually timing tests. This is so tiny, it's not going to take any time at all to sort this. I won't have a good comparison. So let's make sure we can get this working. Make sure to change this to be append, not set text, so you don't erase what was in that text area output before. And then, yeah, this is J-frame main in the button sorting 1 action listener. So click in here, double click on your sorting 1 button, and it should take you to this code. And I'll help you get that done. Then we'll be creating an array. Right. I have comments for you to read. All right. Have a great weekend. And what I'll do is I'll show you how to do this and upload a video that you can just walk through and do this for you. So try to figure out how to make that array. If you have any troubles, I'll have a video up there. And if you need some help, send me an email. I'll be glad to give you some help. So long, Brandon.